It's not a question of if Theresa May loses, but when, and it's the scale of that defeat that will be important. How's that looking this morning from Westminster?
Yeah, indeed, you're right, Bella. It really is at this stage looking at purely the numbers involved in this. After, 31 months since that referendum, more than 18 months of negotiations, 12 EU summits, many cabinet resignations, and indeed 3 Brexit secretaries. It is a really important day, the most important day for Theresa May. Many would say D-Day, not least of all, of course, on her Brexit deal. And looking at the historical context here, a government has not suffered a defeat in the House of Commons by more than 100 votes for almost a century. It would be almost unprecedented if we are looking at the 200 mark figure. Now, this is a government that is used to defeats. It's been defeated 13 times, more than 4 of its predecessors put together in the last year or so. Will we get to the 200 mark? At the moment, I suspect probably not, Bell. I think we will see further MPs, as we did yesterday, from both sides, from Labour and the Conservative, reluctantly come out to support Theresa May's deal. And the figure that is being talked about by Downing Street is, as you say, anything less than 100. It would be viewed as positive, that momentum's building behind the deal. But as I say, this is going to be, no matter what happens, a difficult day, a day of defeat for Theresa May. Now, one of the people who doesn't have a vote, but is definitely not one of her keenest supporters, Nigel Farage, I spoke to him yesterday, and he was making the point that actually Theresa May is somewhat stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Look, the point is this. You could have a shoddy withdrawal agreement, but one that you could adapt and amend over time. The difficulty with this agreement is, under the terms of the backstop, ultimately, if the European Union did not wish to give us a good deal in the next phase of these negotiations, you finish up with a choice. Either, constitutionally, you divide up the United Kingdom, or you stay permanently attached to European Union rules. It is a trap, and I think for most principled Eurosceptics, it's completely unacceptable.
And as difficult as this day is going to be, Theresa May also, Bell, might want to avoid looking at some of the front pages of the British newspapers today. Again, they're not terribly kind to her. The Times here in London saying that May is braced for a historic defeat on Brexit D-Day. The Daily Telegraph, which has been quite critical of her deal, says, out of allies, out of time. Now, the Daily Mail, which has actually been very supportive, says, time to put your country first. It says, as MPs back May's Brexit deal, today we can leave the EU, unite the country and end the political paralysis holding Britain back. Looking to the I newspaper, the Prime Minister, as we said, braced for crushing defeat. And the FT leads on top Eurosceptics threaten May with humiliation over Brexit deal. Plea for backing appears doomed. Brussels letter rejected. Parliamentary chaos looms. Really not great indeed, Bell, for Theresa May.
No, certainly not, Darren. And depending on the outcome of this afternoon's vote, what are the next possible steps?
Well, you know what? It is incredibly unpredictable, and it is to a degree, I think, based on the level of that defeat. I suspect we are going to hear from the Prime Minister after the vote. Now, the vote may well come as late as 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. It depends on the number of amendments that come. Theresa May is due to address the House of Commons at around 6 p.m. local time. In that case, that she does suffer a heavy defeat, I think we'll hear from the Prime Minister. There may well be talk that she could return to Brussels in the coming days to try and see if she can get further concessions, with essentially saying that the British Parliament have rejected this deal. I've got nowhere to go. Brussels, please help me. We could also have the possibility that the Labour opposition, Jeremy Corbyn, will essentially call for a vote of no confidence in the government. Now, at this stage, that is likely to fail because the DUP, the people who hold the balance of power here, the Northern Irish MPs who object to May's deal, do continue to support her government. And there also is much talk as well, Bell, of MPs here trying to wrest back control of this process from the government, of Parliament essentially trying to take charge now of what happens over the next 75 days or so before the end of March 29th. To take that away, essentially, from Theresa May as much as they possibly can. There is also talk, it must be said, of extending Article 50. Clearly, people are campaigning for a second referendum, and there are those also wanting wanting Britain to crash out of the European Union, wanting Britain to have no deal. All the possibilities are on the table. The next 24 hours crucial to which one of those is most likely to play out.